At my birthday dinner, my brother's kid threw my purse into the pool and yelled, "Dad says you don't deserve nice things." His wife laughed so hard she cried. I just smiled and left. That night I canceled his car loan payment. At 9:05 a.m. his car was gone from the driveway. They ruined my birthday. All of them. My brother, his wife, and their little monster of a son. What was supposed to be a quiet dinner with family turned into the kind of memory you try to push so deep it feels like it happened to someone else. My name's Nicole. I live just outside of Denver in a suburb where nothing dramatic usually happens. I'm 36, divorced, raising my daughter Hannah on my own. Life isn't glamorous, but I've worked hard to keep things stable. That night I just wanted one nice evening. A quiet dinner with the people closest to me. Instead I got humiliated in public by a kid who thinks disrespect is a personality trait. We were at a restaurant I had booked over a month earlier. Outdoor seating, soft lighting, nothing flashy. Just good food and enough space for the kids to stretch their legs without knocking into other tables. My daughter sat next to me, dressed up a little, excited to try the creme brulee she'd been talking about for days. Josh and Tessa showed up late as usual. Logan came in running, shouting something about how he hated the place. No one even looked surprised. I greeted them. Tessa gave me a fake smile. Josh barely mumbled hello before sitting down and ordering a double whiskey. Logan climbed on chairs, stuck his fingers in the bread basket, and the only thing his parents said to him the entire time was, "Go play." No one said anything. My parents stared at their drinks. My cousins made small talk, eyes darting anywhere but at Logan. Everyone acted like this was normal, like it was just something we all had to accept because that's who Josh married. Then the cake came out. A simple slice with a candle in it. I didn't even ask for that, it was just something the restaurant does. Everyone gave a polite clap. I smiled, trying to move things along and keep the peace. And then Logan came up behind me, snatched my purse off the back of the chair and sprinted toward the pool. He looked right at me like he'd been waiting for this moment and shouted loud enough for the whole place to hear. "Dad says you don't deserve nice things." Then he tossed my purse into the water. Tessa started laughing so hard she had to cover her face. Josh didn't even blink. No one stopped him. No one told Logan to apologize. My parents went silent. Hannah looked at me, confused and a little scared. The rest of the table just sat there. I stood up, grabbed my phone and left. No dramatic speech. No yelling. Just walked out and took Hannah with me. I didn't pick up the phone that night. Didn't answer their messages. Let them sit in the silence. But what they didn't know, and what I didn't say, is that I've been paying Josh's rent for 2 years. $1,600 a month. Every month. I never told anyone. He lost his job and I thought I was doing the right thing for his kids. I also covered his car loan, something he begged me to do, just for a few months. When I got home I opened the banking app and shut it all down. Cancelled the rent payment. Cancelled the car loan autopay. Just like that. The next morning, 9:05 a.m. he called. I ignored it. Then came the text. "Where the hell is my car?" No punctuation. No hi. Nothing. I didn't reply. But I did drive past his house later that day. The driveway was empty. That was just the start. Josh didn't stop calling. Not that day, not the next. Voicemails, texts, even emails. First it was confused. Then angry. Then desperate. He never once apologized. What he did say was that the towing company told him the car was repossessed at 8:45 a.m. That his boss had called wondering why he didn't show up for his shift. That he had to Uber to work and back. That Tessa was livid. I ignored every message. I didn't even open most of them. On the third day the tone changed. Suddenly he remembered I was his sister. He sent a photo of Logan holding a drawing with the words, "Sorry Aunt Nikki," scribbled in blue crayon. Like that would erase what happened. Like a kid with a marker could fix years of being taken for granted. What he didn't know yet was that rent was also due that week. I got the first call from his landlord 2 days later. A polite voicemail asking if I had accidentally canceled the usual transfer. I didn't respond. Not my responsibility anymore. Then Tessa texted me pretending nothing had happened. Just, "Hey, can you send the rent today? We're short this month." No mention of the purse. No mention of the dinner. Just fake casual like always. This time I did respond. I said, "I won't be covering your rent anymore. Please make other arrangements." 10 minutes later Josh called me 6 times in a row. Then he switched tactics and started texting my parents asking them what was wrong with me. They didn't know what to say. My mom called and said she wasn't taking sides but hoped I'd think things through. My dad said nothing at all. By the weekend I got another message. This one less polite. "You know we can't afford this place without you. So you're really gonna let your niece and nephew get evicted? You're that bitter." That's when I realized they still didn't get it. I wasn't being bitter. I was done. But I wasn't finished. Because another payment was about to come due, one I knew they couldn't cover without me. Tuition for their 2 kids' private school. Logan and his older sister went to some fancy charter academy Tessa insisted on, even when they had no money for it. I had been covering that too, ever since they begged me 2 years ago not to let their kids fall behind. I opened the school's online portal, deleted my billing info and turned off all autopay settings. It felt good. Not petty. Not cruel. Just necessary. 2 days later I got the first sign of what was coming. I walked outside in the morning, coffee in hand, ready to drive Hannah to school. My car was scratched down the passenger side. Bong. As if someone had taken a key and dragged it in a deliberate slow line from the front door to the rear bumper. On the windshield, a perfect star-shaped crack right where the driver looks through. I didn't cry. I didn't even take a photo at first. I walked back inside, sat down and called my friend Ellie. She's the one who told me what to do next. I didn't sleep the night I found the scratch and the cracked windshield. I just lay there in bed staring at the ceiling, wondering how the hell it got to this point. Wondering how someone could take your generosity, drain it for years, then punish you for finally saying no. The damage wasn't random. The line carved into the side of my car wasn't a quick swipe. It was long, deliberate, almost careful. The windshield had a perfect starburst crack right in the middle of my view. I knew exactly what it was. A warning. Their idea of payback. And the most pathetic part? They did it thinking I'd cave. That I'd panic, pick up the phone and start paying again. I didn't. That I called Ellie. She's been my friend since college and she doesn't sugarcoat anything. I didn't even finish explaining before she cut me off. You need to press charges. I hesitated. I'd never filed anything in my life. It felt serious. Permanent. And maybe that's what scared me. Because once I did that, there would be no pretending we were still some kind of family. But then Ellie asked me something that flipped a switch in my head. What if it had been Hannah's birthday? What if that had been her purse? Her car? I didn't have an answer. Because I already knew. That night I sat down with Hannah. She had been quiet all weekend, like she wasn't sure if she was allowed to ask questions. I told her the truth. That I thought Uncle Josh and Aunt Tessa were the ones who did it. I didn't go into details, but I wanted her to know something wasn't okay. She just looked at me for a second and then said, "You know, Logan's mom told him to do it." I froze. Apparently while I had stepped away to the restroom at the restaurant, Tessa leaned down and whispered something to Logan. Hannah didn't catch it all, but it was something like, "Show her she's not better than us." Hannah thought maybe it was a joke, but now she wasn't sure. That confirmed it for me. And then I remembered something else. The restaurant had security cameras. Outdoor patio high-end place, they always do. I called the manager and asked if they kept recordings. He was polite, helpful, and within a few hours I had the footage in my inbox. It was all there. Logan grabbing the purse. The throw. Tessa laughing so hard she nearly doubled over. Josh not even flinching. You couldn't hear the audio clearly, but Logan's line came through. "Dad says you don't deserve nice things." I sent it to Ellie. She didn't even reply with words. Just sent me the contact info for a lawyer and told me not to wait. By the next day the fallout had begun. Josh and Tessa were texting again. But this time it wasn't about rent. It was about school. Apparently the tuition payment had bounced and the school sent them an alert that both kids were now listed as unpaid. Their daughter's fall enrollment was put on hold. Logan's class assignments had been pulled from the system. They tried every angle. First it was fake sweet. "Hey Nicole, there's been a mix-up, could you fix the payment really quick? Just while we sort this out." Then came the guilt. "You're punishing the kids. They didn't do anything." Then finally the blame. "You're blowing all this out of proportion. You're being vindictive." I didn't respond to a single one. On Sunday morning they came to my house. I saw them through the peephole. Josh standing with his hands in his hoodie pocket. Tessa behind him, arms crossed like she was there for moral support in a court case. I opened the door halfway. Not to talk, just to let them say what they clearly came to say. Josh went first. "You could have handled this privately." Tessa followed. "We've had a rough year. You've always helped before. We thought you understood." I didn't say anything. Just listened. Then Josh said it. "You're really gonna throw away family over a purse and a couple of payments?" That's when I felt it. Not rage. Not even sadness. Just done. I closed the door without a word. Locked it. Sat back down at the kitchen table with Hannah, who was quietly eating cereal like this was all completely normal. 5 minutes later, I opened my laptop, pulled up the police department's non-emergency portal and filed the report. Destruction of property. With video evidence. The case number popped up on the screen. And just like that, it became official. Filing the report felt like crossing a line I couldn't uncross. But it also felt like standing up for myself for the first time in years. It wasn't just about the car or the purse. It was about everything they'd taken from me while pretending they were entitled to it. I submitted the footage, the photos of the car, everything. I expected a long wait. Maybe a phone call from an officer next week. Instead, I got a knock at my door that evening. It was 2 officers. One male, one female. They were calm, professional. Asked if I had a few minutes to clarify a few things from the report. I let them in. They'd already seen the footage. What they wanted now was confirmation that I believed my brother and his wife were involved directly in the vandalism. I said yes. Then they asked something that caught me off guard. Do you know anything about an incident involving a missing tablet? I stared at them. What tablet? Apparently, after the dinner, Logan had gone into the private dining area of the restaurant, where one of the servers had left their bag, and taken an iPad. Security footage showed him walking in and walking out with something under his shirt. I had no idea. The server didn't realize it until later that night. Filed a report with the restaurant, who checked the cameras and had already submitted everything to the police. The twist. Josh came back the next morning and returned it. Said Logan found it in the parking lot. No apology. No explanation. Just dropped it off and left. That incident had already flagged them in the system. Which meant my report paired with that one escalated everything. The officers thanked me for my time and left. I closed the door, heart pounding. Not because I was scared, but because it finally felt like people were starting to see what I had dealt with for years. The next day, the official notice came. Josh was being investigated for contributing to the delinquency of a minor. The vandalism charge was under review pending confirmation of prints on the object used to scratch my car. They were also reviewing the tablet incident more seriously now that there was a pattern. By Wednesday, our parents found out. And just like I feared, they didn't pick a side. My mom called, voice tired, asking if I was sure I wanted to go this far. She said maybe Logan just needed a firm hand, and maybe Josh and Tessa were just overwhelmed. I told her I didn't file a report because of Logan. I filed it because of them. My dad, on the other hand, tried to play neutral. Said he hoped we'd all talk it out like adults before things got worse. As if there was a conversation left to have. That night, Tessa posted on Facebook. Not naming me directly, of course, but it was obvious. A dramatic post about fake family who pretend to care until they turn on you the second life gets hard. The comments filled with her friends saying things like, "You don't need that kind of negativity," and "Your kids are lucky to have such a strong mama." I didn't respond. But someone else did. Ellie. She left one comment short and clean. "I was there. You should be careful who you lie to." It was the first time I smiled all week. But the next morning, I got a text from Hannah's school. Apparently someone had tried to call the front office pretending to be me, asking about Hannah's schedule and what time she usually gets picked up. The school didn't give them anything, but they flagged the call. Said it felt suspicious. The number didn't match anything they had on file. Just a random local number. I asked them to forward the recording. When they did, I sat at the kitchen table and played it on speaker. The voice wasn't mine. It was Tessa's. I didn't expect the school to call me. I thought the worst of it was behind us, at least for now. But when the secretary left a message saying someone had called pretending to be me, asking about Hannah's schedule and pickup routine, I felt my stomach drop. They didn't give any information away. The call was flagged and recorded, and the moment I listened to it, I froze. The voice was fake friendly, forced sweet, trying way too hard to sound like a concerned mom. But it wasn't me. It was Tessa. She didn't even bother to mask her voice that much. Just enough to make it technically deniable. But I knew her tone. Her cadence. That little breathy lilt she always used when she was pretending to be polite. That was it. That was the line. I could handle being insulted. I could handle financial betrayal. I could even handle a keyed car and a cracked windshield. But trying to interfere with my daughter's school life, her safety? That changed everything. I called Ellie first. She didn't hesitate. She told me to report it now. Not in the morning, not when I felt more calm. No. The detective handling my case picked up right away. I forwarded the voicemail and explained the context. Within an hour, I had an emergency restraining order filed. Tessa was legally prohibited from contacting me, Hannah, or even coming within 200 feet of Hannah's school. Attempted impersonation, harassment, and malicious intent involving a minor. It was serious, and it should have ended there. But of course it didn't. Josh showed up at my house the next day. No warning, no message, just stood outside the door like everything was fine. He didn't bring Logan. He didn't bring Tessa. Not angry. Not desperate. Just like a man who had lost control of his own mess and was now trying to dig through the rubble for anything familiar. I opened the door enough to step outside. I didn't want him in my home. Not anymore. He looked me in the eye and said things had gotten out of hand. That their landlord had started eviction paperwork. That both kids were officially pulled from school. that Tessa was not doing well, and that he just wanted things to go back to how they used to be. I told him to stop. I reminded him of how things used to be. How I paid for his rent when he couldn't. His car loan when he didn't. Tuition when he ignored deadlines. I reminded him of how his wife laughed when his son publicly humiliated me on my birthday, and how he didn't say a word. And then he said it. She just wanted you to feel what it's like when someone takes something from you. I didn't say anything for a second. I just looked at him. That's when I knew there was no saving this. There was no family meeting, no heart-to-heart, no apology coming. He genuinely thought they were the victims. That I had pulled support unfairly. That my boundaries were cruelty, not survival. I told him to leave and never come back. Not even for a second. I gave him 5 seconds to walk off the porch before I called the police. He turned and left. No fight. No goodbye. That evening I took Hannah for ice cream. I needed to breathe. I needed something normal. She was quiet at first, eating her cones slowly, glancing around the shop like her brain was somewhere else. After a few minutes she asked softly, "Are we ever going to see them again?" I looked at her and shook my head. I didn't even need to say it. She already knew. The next morning the detective called. They had gotten something back from forensics. The scratches on my car had been made with a house key. The kind typically used for front doors. And the prints lifted from the area around the gas cap matched one person exactly. Tessa. They were filing charges. Destruction of property. Harassment. Unlawful impersonation. A warrant was being processed. And just like that, my silence stopped being grace. It became evidence. The day the warrant went active, I got a call from my mom. She didn't ask how I was. She asked if it was true. If Tessa was about to be arrested. If I had really gone that far. I told her it wasn't going far. It was going forward. She sighed. That long, disappointed kind of sigh that mothers think still has power over you when you're 36. She said she didn't want to take sides. That this whole thing had gone too far. That maybe there was a better way to settle things privately. I asked her what part of this she thought was private. The part where they used my daughter's name to fish for her school schedule? The scratched car? The purse in the pool? She didn't answer. I didn't call my dad. I knew what he'd say. That family's complicated. That forgiveness is important. That time would heal it. It was almost worse that neither of them outright took their side. This weird in-between stance. Refusing to pick but still judging me for drawing a line. They didn't realize that was its own betrayal. Ellie was the only one who stayed steady. She helped me file for long-term restraining orders. She was there when I met with the DA to go over the charges. And when the officer called to confirm that Tessa had been taken in, calmly, without drama, booked and released with a court date, she brought over pizza and didn't ask for details. Just sat with me and Hannah and watched a movie like normal life still existed somewhere. Josh tried once more. One last text. It said, "Hope you're proud. You ruined our family." I didn't reply. Not out of pettiness, but because I wasn't going to defend myself to someone who had never once defended me. I blocked him. A week later I changed my number. The hardest part came when I explained everything to Hannah in full. She had seen most of it, but she deserved to know why we weren't going to holidays at Grandma's anymore. Why we wouldn't be seeing Logan at birthday parties. Why things that used to be normal would stay broken. She didn't cry. But she didn't say much either. She just asked, "So it's really over, isn't it?" And I told her the truth. Yes, it is. I don't know what'll happen to Josh and Tessa. I've heard rumors. They had to move out of the apartment. The school didn't take the kids back. Tessa's facing fines, maybe more. I've stayed out of it. Blocked, deleted, cleared the slate. It doesn't feel like revenge. Feels like release. This year I didn't plan a birthday dinner. Hannah and I went to the mountains for the weekend. Just the two of us. She picked the playlist. I let her have ice cream for breakfast one morning. We laughed. We were quiet. And we were free. And for the first time in a long time I felt like I had something worth celebrating again. Sometimes I still catch myself remembering old holidays. The way Josh used to make everyone laugh at Thanksgiving, how we used to sit around playing board games after dinner. Before everything twisted. Before the taking started to feel normal. I don't miss them. But I miss the version of them I thought I knew. Hannah's been different too. A little quieter, a little more careful about who she trusts. I hate that she had to see it all. But I'm proud of how she handled it. How she stood beside me even when none of it made sense. I think she understands now that protecting peace sometimes means walking away from people who live in chaos. Sometimes the hardest thing isn't cutting someone off. It's realizing they were never really holding on to you in the first place. Not because I'd won, but because I finally stopped losing.